Millions of people spend billions on skincare creams, while dermatological research shows the single most effective collagen rebuilding compound comes from a plant you can root in a glass of water. It needs no special soil and no expensive setup. Grandmothers across Asia have eaten its leaves daily for 3,000 years to maintain their skin. They never needed a prescription or a department store counter. The knowledge passed quietly from mother to daughter. By the end of this video, you'll know how to grow this free collagen booster at home and why the skincare industry keeps quiet about it. Walk into any pharmacy right now and look at the supplement aisle. You will see collagen peptides in tubs, collagen powders in sachets, collagen capsules in bottles with pictures of smooth skin and flexible joints. Pick up any one of them and read the ingredients. Most contain. While hydrolyzed bovine and marine collagen peptides provide essential amino acid building blocks, including glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, for extracellular matrix assembly, Centella asiatica, or Cola, works through a distinct cellular mechanism. Its active triterpenoids, including asiaticoside, metacasoside, asiatic acid, and metacasic acid, stimulate dermal fibroblasts to express type 1 and type 3 collagen mRNA. The packaging promises that these powders will rebuild your skin from the inside. The fine print never explains how much of that powder actually survives digestion and reaches your skin as usable collagen. The industry prefers you do not ask that question. Here is what the labels never tell you. Rebuilding collagen is not about eating collagen. Your body does not absorb a collagen molecule from a supplement and place it directly into your skin like a brick into a wall. That is not how the process works. Collagen rebuilding happens when specific compounds signal your fibroblasts, the cells responsible for manufacturing collagen, to increase production. Your body builds its own collagen. The question is whether anything can tell it to build more. And one group of compounds does this more effectively than anything else ever tested. They belong to a family called triterpenoids. They occur naturally in a single plant species, a plant that does not need soil, a plant that spreads through runners in shallow water, a plant that has been consumed daily across Southeast Asia for longer than most Western civilizations have existed. The pharmaceutical industry already knows about this plant. The skincare industry already extracts its compounds and sells them at enormous markup, but they sell the extract. They never mention that the source is a living plant you could grow on your windowsill for free. To understand how this happened, you need to see where the plant came from and what happened when Western industry finally found it. More than 3,000 years ago, practitioners of Ayurvedic medicine in India documented a small creeping herb that grew along riverbanks and in shallow marshes. They prescribed it for wound healing, skin renewal, and mental clarity. They called it the herb of longevity. Monks consumed it before long sessions of meditation because they believed it balanced the mind. Ancient texts described it alongside instructions for treating burns, scars, and slow-healing injuries. The plant appeared in formulations so old that their authors are unknown. In Sri Lanka, a proverb survived for centuries that translates roughly to 2 leaves a day keeps old age away. The origin of the saying connects to observations of elephants, among the longest-lived land animals on Earth, seeking out this specific plant in the wild. Whether the connection between the elephants and human longevity was scientific observation or folk wisdom, the cultural pattern was consistent. Wherever this plant grew, the people who ate it were associated with long life and resilient skin. In Thailand, street vendors in Bangkok and Chiang Mai sell a cold green drink called bua bok. Locals buy it the way Americans buy iced coffee. It costs less than $1. The drink is made from the fresh leaves of this plant blended with water and sugar. In Vietnam, the same plant is called rau ma. In Ho Chi Minh City, you will find carts on nearly every major street selling fresh pressed rau ma juice in plastic cups. In Indonesia, the leaves go into a traditional salad dish called pikil. In Malaysia, they call it pegaga. In the Philippines, takip kohol. In China, traditional medicine practitioners have used it for centuries under the name ji shui kao. In the West, if the plant has a name at all, it is gotu kola. But most Westerners have never heard this word, and the reason follows the same pattern that has hidden so many plants from Western awareness. A dozen names across a dozen languages. No unified identity in English. No consistent presence in Western cookbooks, grocery stores, or gardening catalogs. When a plant has no single recognizable name in the dominant market language, it has no shelf space. No shelf space means no consumer awareness. No awareness means no demand. And no demand means no reason for anyone to tell you it exists. 500 million people across Asia consume this plant regularly. It grows wild in rice paddies and drainage ditches from India to Indonesia. It is not rare. It is not exotic in the countries where it thrives. It is as common as dandelions in an American lawn, and yet it remained invisible to Western consumers for centuries. Then, in the middle of the 20th century, a group of French pharmacists working on the island of Madagascar noticed something that changed everything and buried it at the same time. Local populations in Madagascar had been using gotu kola leaves as wound dressings for generations. The French researchers observed that wounds treated with the crushed leaves closed faster and scarred less than wounds treated with conventional methods available at the time. They began investigating. They isolated the active compounds, a group of triterpenoids, including one called asiatica. They discovered that these compounds accelerated the production of collagen in wound tissue at a rate that exceeded their expectations. The compounds were extracted, standardized, and developed into a pharmaceutical formulation for wound care. This formulation entered the European medical market. Hospitals and clinics began using it for burn treatment, surgical recovery, and chronic wound management. The active ingredient came from a plant that grew wild in ditches and rice paddies. The finished product sold at pharmaceutical pricing. The gap between the raw material and the retail price was enormous. And the living plant remained unknown to the patients whose wounds it helped heal. Decades later, a parallel discovery unfolded in South Korea. Korean skincare researchers began studying Centella asiatica, the botanical name for gotu kola, in the early 2000s. They developed formulations that became known across the beauty industry as Cica, short for Centella asiatica. Cica creams appeared on shelves in Seoul, then Tokyo, then Los Angeles and London and Paris. The K-beauty industry turned Centella into a billion-dollar ingredient category. Western consumers began buying Cica recovery creams and Cica serums and Cica overnight masks. They read the label. They saw the words Centella asiatica extract. They did not know it was a plant. They did not know it grew in water. They did not know a single cutting could produce an endless supply of leaves on a kitchen counter. A $40 tube of Cica cream contains a fraction of a gram of Centella extract. A living gotu kola plant costs $3 at a nursery and produces fresh leaves indefinitely. The math does not favor the consumer knowing this. And the research gap tells its own story. There are thousands of published studies on isolated Centella compounds in extracted and patented forms. There are far fewer studies comparing the effects of eating the whole raw plant to using the processed extract. Whole plants cannot be patented. Extracts can. Research follows funding. Funding follows patents. Patents require control over a product. A plant that anyone can grow in a glass of water cannot be controlled. So the research flows toward the extracted versions, the versions that can be bottled, branded, and sold for 50 times what the living plant costs. But there is one piece of this story that the industry could not repackage, could not patent, and could not sell back to you. The way this plant actually rebuilds collagen, and why it works best while you are asleep. Collagen is not something you buy. It is something your body builds. It is a structural protein, the most abundant protein in the human body, forming the scaffolding that holds your skin firm, cushions your joints, and anchors your hair. Your body produces new collagen every single day, but the production rate is not constant. It peaks during deep sleep. When you enter slow-wave sleep, the deepest phase of the sleep cycle, your pituitary gland releases a surge of growth hormone. This hormone activates repair processes throughout the body. Fibroblasts, the cells that manufacture collagen, enter their most active phase during this window. Your body is literally rebuilding its structural tissue while you sleep. This is not a marketing claim. This is basic human physiology. It is the reason sleep deprivation accelerates visible aging. Without deep sleep, the collagen production window shrinks. Now consider what Gotu Kola's triterpenoids do inside this process. These compounds signal fibroblasts to increase their output of procollagen, the precursor molecule that assembles into mature collagen fibers. They do not replace the body's natural process, they amplify it. They tell the cells that are already building collagen to build more of it, faster. When these compounds are present in the system during the deep sleep window, they meet the body at its peak repair capacity. This is why the wound healing properties and the skin rejuvenation properties are not two separate benefits. They are the same mechanism. The reason Gotu Kola helps wounds close faster is the same reason it improves skin elasticity and firmness. It increases collagen production. The pharmaceutical industry packaged the wound healing application into one product. The skincare industry packaged the anti-aging application into another product. The plant does not make this distinction. The plant simply provides the compounds. Your body does the rest. And the part that separates this from every collagen supplement on the shelf is that you do not need to keep buying it. You might not even need to buy it at all. When growing Gotu Kola in water or soil, change the water every 2 to 3 days to prevent fungal rot and bacterial proliferation. Furthermore, because Centella asiatica is a known bioaccumulator of soil pollutants and heavy metals, only consume leaves grown in clean, tested potting media or pure filtered water. You will see thin white roots extending from the submerged node. Once the roots reach 2 to 3 inches, you can transfer the cutting to a shallow dish of water, a pot filled with consistently moist soil, or simply leave it in the glass. The plant will continue to grow. Gotu Kola spreads by sending out runners, horizontal stems that creep along the surface and produce new leaf clusters at each node. One cutting becomes 5 plants within a month. 5 become 20 within a growing season. The plant prefers partial shade to full shade. It thrives in humidity. It tolerates indoor conditions remarkably well, especially bathrooms and kitchens where moisture levels stay higher. In warmer climates from USDA Zone 8 and above, it can be grown outdoors year-round in moist soil or at the edge of a pond. In cooler climates, it lives happily as a houseplant. Harvest is simple. Pick the leaves. They have a mild, slightly bitter, green flavor. Eat them fresh in a salad, the way millions of people do every day in Vietnam and Thailand. Blend them into a morning smoothie. While Centella asiatica is widely consumed as a food ingredient across Southeast Asia, high-dose oral intake or prolonged daily use of concentrated extracts has been linked in rare clinical cases to drug-induced liver injury and contact dermatitis. Continuous oral consumption should be restricted to recommended dietary amounts, such as 2 to 3 fresh leaves or standard culinary uses, and avoided by individuals with pre-existing liver disease, pregnant or breastfeeding women, or those scheduled for surgery due to mild sedative and GABA-modulating effects. Crush fresh leaves into a paste and apply directly to skin as a poultice, which is exactly what traditional healers across Asia have done for 30 centuries. No processing required, no extraction necessary. The whole leaf contains the triterpenoid compounds that the industry charges premium prices to isolate and bottle. The leaves can be dried in a low oven or a dehydrator and stored for months. The runners can be cut, rooted in water, and shared with anyone. A single $3 plant from a nursery or a cutting from a friend becomes a permanent, self-renewing supply. One that requires no subscription, no monthly order, no branded packaging. The question was never why Asia hid this plant. Asia did not hide anything. Thai vendors sell it as a cold drink on the street for less than $1. Vietnamese families press it into juice for their children. Sri Lankan grandmothers eat 2 leaves every morning and have done so for generations. Indian monks consumed it before the Western calendar existed. The knowledge was always there, always public, always available. The question is why a $60 billion collagen industry never mentioned that their most studied active ingredient grows in a glass of water and costs nothing after the first cutting. Why thousands of studies on patented extracts and almost none on the raw leaf. Why every pharmacy stocks collagen powder made from cowhide and fish scales. But no nursery in America puts a sign on go-to cola that reads, "Rebuilds collagen while you sleep." The answer is not conspiracy. The answer is structure. Economic systems promote what economic systems can sell. A plant that propagates in water generates no repeat revenue. A leaf that anyone can pick generates no packaging cost, no shipping fee, no brand loyalty. The system that profits from collagen simply looked past the plant that provides it for free. But the plant does not care about the collagen market. It cares about water and spreading. It has been creeping along riverbanks and rice paddies for 3,000 years. It fed monks and healed wounds and rebuilt tissue long before anyone thought to put collagen in a bottle. And it is still there, still growing, still spreading one runner at a time, still waiting in a glass of water on a windowsill for someone to notice what it has always done.